Hi, my name is Kara Slade, and I'm the Associate Rector at Trinity Church in Princeton, New Jersey, as well as the Theologian in Residence and Associate Chaplain for the Episcopal Campus Ministry to Princeton University, Princeton Theological Seminary, and Westminster Choir College. Now, before I became a priest and a theologian, I also did a PhD in engineering and worked as a researcher for NASA. My current research, including my dissertation in theology and ethics, is concerned with the interactions of theology and science, especially around evolution. Now, often when people think about science and theology, they think in terms of generating a seamless and coherent account of all knowledge. But these conversations aren't just about knowledge, but also about morality. Think of how many times you've seen popular accounts of evolution that try to explain social phenomena with evolutionary theory. You can see this kind of thing in evolutionary psychology, for example, in attempts to explain why humans are the way they are. And oftentimes these explanations confuse what is with what should be, or what was meant to be. There's a long history of using evolutionary arguments to explain why some people end up with a lot, and why other people end up with very little, why the people at the top of the economic ladder deserve to be there. Popular accounts of evolution often deploy the notion of scientific objectivity in an attempt to explain truths that biology cannot, in fact, explain. Things that have to do more with politics than with science. Now, in teaching seminary students how to think about evolutionary theory, I often use the example of Ohm's law from introductory physics. It's uncontroversial true that the voltage in an electric circuit is proportional to current and resistance. V equals IR. It's introductory physics. Likewise, it's uncontroversially true that evolutionary theory has something to say about how species develop and differentiate themselves from each other, even if the exact mechanism of that differentiation is contested. But that biological truth should have as little hold on our moral imagination as Ohm's law does. Electricity is everywhere, but nobody believes that Ohm's law explains the poverty of Haiti or the pitfalls of marriage. But popular accounts of evolutionary biology have been far less circumspect in the limit of their explanatory power. I don't mean to suggest that scientific inquiry and the scientific method can't be a vital part of the intellectual life. They are. But I do hope to suggest that there may be more of a collision than a civil conversation between science and theology in the moral register, at least sometimes. I do hope to suggest that science people and theologians alike should remember that science has given us the atomic bomb as well as the James Webb Telescope. It's given us the eugenics movement as well as cures for the diseases. It's been death-dealing as well as life-giving. And I think it's up to all of us to be honest about that.